Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going through the holiday journals that I set up for the kids for this term 3 holidays. So I've got 2 blank notebooks there which I just picked up quite cheap from Aldi, and I wanted to decorate the front so that we know whose is whose. So I've just got some simple portrait photos of the kids which I'm just trimming down. And I am going to pretty much just stick them on. There's going to be a little bit of decoration involved, but pretty minimal. It's just for identification purposes pretty much. So Piper's picture is going on the front there with some washi just to, fancy it up a little bit in the corners. And that's just foil washi, which I'm pretty sure is actually even from Kmart. And then I've just got some sticky notes there, which these sticky notes are super cute, but they don't actually stick. So they are going down with double-sided tape. And then I'm just going to get a brush pen and write her name on it on the front. And that will be that. So now I've got Orion's and just making sure that I'm sticking it on the right way up. And it's going to get the same treatment with the double-sided tape and then be stuck down. So the washi that I chose for Orion's is just a skinny one, but it had all those really nice oranges and golds in it that were in the photo of his little Charmander onesie. I love that picture. And then once again, one of the little sticky notes that is not sticky over the top to create. Oh, and I stuck it onto the photo. That was lucky. And then his name again on the top. That's just a Pitt Artist brush pen in black. So inside, they, as you can see, are just pretty plain lined spot for dates, nothing special. And I wanted to create a pocket to put some things in, partly things that I'm making to go in it, and also partly for any souvenirs that they might sort of pick up through the holidays that they might want to save. So I just grabbed 2 envelopes and I only glued around 3 sides. So there is actually ends up being 2 pockets, one inside the envelope and then one behind it. Now Orion's envelope, as you can see, had a sticky. So I'm just going to put some washi to cover the stickiness because I didn't want that to, end up sort of sticking to itself and sealing up so that he couldn't actually get things in and out. Right, so now that that's done, I've just got an old piece of, it's actually plastic file folder that I just picked up in Officeworks and chopped up. And it used to hold post-it notes in my Hobonichi, but obviously I don't use it for that anymore. So what I decided to do was to make it something that the kids could use to note down the day and the date for whatever activity that they were doing in their journals. So I have this washi tape, which I think is from Kiki K. I could be wrong, but it's got the days of the week on it. Bronwyn gave it to me for my birthday, so I have just been chopping out the days of the week and turning them into stickers. And because they're on plastic, they can easily be peeled off and reused. And I've put enough on there for 2 full weeks, which is the holidays. I do end up doing a few more pages in here than what we need for the school holidays, but I thought maybe the kids might want to do, more than one activity for a day, and in which case they can just then write the date up the top of the page to sort of continue it on. And obviously I did 2 of these because there's 2 journals, and what you have for one, I have learnt the hard way, you need to have for the other one, or there is a little bit of a mutiny. So with that done, and those tucked safely into the pockets, it's time to get started. So for Orion, he is in year 2, he's 8, so he needed a few more challenging activities in his journal, and you can see here I've got some crosswords and some word searches, which I actually just googled free crossword program or make your own crossword for free, and I made these myself and printed them out. So Orion loves Pokemon, and well, we all do here. So I just made some clues, and the answers, they're really easy. You just type them in, and then the program, the internet page, generates the crossword and the clues and everything for you. It's really, really handy. And I would link it down below, but I did not save the address because I wasn't thinking that far ahead. But if you just open Google and type in make your own free crossword or something like that, you will come up with a whole bunch of different ones that will do the job. So I decided that because it printed out A4, it was going to be easier just to trim it down and stick it rather than resize it. And I was really happy it fitted really nice. So next up, I also have some dot to dots there, some mazes and other things, and I decided that we would pop down one of those next. When I make the holiday journals, I like to do a variety of different activities sort of spread out. The original iterations of these were predated and the kids already had an activity set for each day that they were to do, but over time I found that there's been a bit of a backlash from them. I want to do this activity, I want to do that activity, I don't want to do this today, I don't want to do that today. So I decided this time to take a different route, and in making those sticker sheets that go on the front, I'm pretty much just filling the journal with activities, spreading out the different types of activities through the pages, and they can actually just flip through and do whatever they feel like on whatever day. And if they skip a couple of days and they want to do a few to catch up, then that will also work. So Orion writes really well, and his literacy is quite good, but he needs to practice his actual physical fine motor skills in terms of handwriting. So I tried to include in his journal some things that might make him think a little bit and get him to write out some answers, which is a bit tricky because to try and think of things that a 8-year-old boy would enjoy writing about is not always that simple. So this is a dot to dot of the Pokemon Vaporeon. I just Googled free Pokemon dot to dot printables and got a few images up that were shared and printed them out. Unfortunately, for some reason, they printed out really, really blurry. So you can't actually read the numbers, but Orion knows what a Vaporeon looks like, so I don't have any doubt that he will be able to connect the dots even without the numbers and work out where everything goes. So one thing that's been popular in previous holiday journals has been the shopping list, and as strange as it sounds, I sat down with a couple of old holiday journals and went through with the kids in advance, asked them what they liked and what they didn't like, and the shopping list was one of them. So as you saw there, it was just a little clipboard that they can fill out with the things that they might like to buy at the shopping. And then at the end of when we get home, we add them all up. This word search is again Pokemon themed, and the same thing as I did with the crossword. I typed into Google, make your own free word search or something to that effect. And I got a bunch of websites that popped up that would allow me to do it. And I just went through and chose one that I felt was going to do the job. This one I liked because you could choose the different sizes of the word searches between 10 by 10, 20 by 20, and 30 by 30. This is a 20 by 20, and this particular word search, the words go horizontally and vertically only. And obviously the Pokemon are sort of hidden in there. And because the program generates it and not me, I don't actually know where they are. There was an answer sheet which I've printed out, but I'm going to try not to look at that. We'll see whether Orion can find them all himself. So the next page here, you can see me writing story time. Once again, I'm trying to think of things that might engage Orion's attention and get him to do some writing. So he loves Kirby, and I decided to make a little story up and pretty much leave some blank spaces in the narrative so that Orion, when he decides to do this activity, he can actually go back through and fill the spaces in himself to complete the story. So he can go sensible or he can go silly, and once he's done, we can read it out and have a bit of a laugh. So here I am got a map of Hyrule from The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which is another fan favorite in our house, definitely mine, and the kids love it too. So I decided to turn this into a jigsaw puzzle. So all I did was I found a map of Hyrule, I printed it out, and I am chopping it up into little bits and pieces. My guillotine blade is blunt, so I did rip it a little bit, but it's nothing that we can't handle. So I pretty much just get an envelope, put the pieces inside, and then tape it to the page. And when Orion's ready to have a crack at the puzzle, he just has to get the envelope off and sort of glue it down on the page. And he, apart from being able to actually follow the colors and match up the lines, he's very familiar with the map of Breath of the Wild. He plays it himself and has actually even finished it. So he won't have any trouble completing that puzzle. Here you can see I've got the silhouettes of some Pokemon. And I don't know if any of you are from the same generation as me, but when Pokemon was on the TV, there was this really cool game on the ad breaks called Who's That Pokemon? And that's what those silhouettes are from. And I was going to put them onto that single page, but they weren't going to fit, which I realized very quickly after I cut them out. So I decided to set them aside, and I've gone instead with the maze, which was, once again, I typed into Google free printable Minecraft mazes. That's a mouthful. And I just chose a couple and printed them out because Orion and Piper both really love Minecraft as well. So here you can see I've realized that a double page spread is going to be best for these Pokemon, and I'm laying them out and just sticking them down with double-sided tape and leaving a bit of space to the sides for Orion to write what the Pokemon is, and then also what type the Pokemon is, because I wanted to make it a little more challenging for him. And these are all really, really, I'm going to say simple Pokemon to guess. They're from the original 150 that have been around since I was a kid. So I know that Orion won't really have a lot of trouble working out who they are. And I even know who they are, which helps. There was no point me putting a Pokemon on there whose silhouette I did not recognize. So that's laid out. He can either do it all in one day or he can spread it out over 2 days, depending on how he feels about it. Okay, so here we have the second of the 2 crosswords that I made, and this one is Breath of the Wild themed. So in our house, the main 3 things that the kids love is Minecraft, Pokemon, and Breath of the Wild. I don't play Minecraft, but I play both Pokemon and Breath of the Wild. So it's sort of, when I was choosing the themes to make the crosswords and the word searches with, the Nintendo theme really suited me because I don't play Minecraft. So it would have been tricky for me to write out puzzles pertaining to that. And I just tried to keep, Orion loves doing crosswords with Mum. Mum has a couple of crossword books, and one of them, honestly, the clues are ridiculous. They just don't make any sense to the answers, but I tried to make sure that these ones were really obvious so that Orion had a nice introduction to crosswords. And I thought maybe even he might like to do them with Grammy one day when she's over, because they love doing crosswords. She might like to help him fill them out, and maybe even the word searches too. So one of the things we talked about doing over the holidays was a bit of cooking, and I thought it might be fun for Orion to write out the recipe that we were making and then make it. So you can see me there, I was counting on my fingers to try and remember all the things that were in the cookie recipe. And again, another dot to dot. This is the Pokemon Wartortle, who is 1 evolution upwards from Squirtle. And same deal as the other ones. It is a bit blurry, so the numbers aren't visible, but Orion won't have any trouble sort of following that. And if he wants to, he can color it in. He told me he's not a massive fan of coloring in, so I deliberately didn't put anything in that he had to color. And then, yep, again, over here, I'm just doing another questionnaire about things that we maybe did on the holidays that he can either fill out at the very end, or he can fill it out as we go, as he comes up with sort of bits and pieces here that might be suited. I haven't had a lot of success with these written answer pages in previous holiday journals, but when I asked Orion up in the lead up to it, he said he really likes them. So fingers crossed that he actually goes through and fills them out, because that'd be really cool to get his insights on the things that he enjoyed in the holidays and to look back. So this word search here is Nintendo character based. And you can see up on the heading, it says tricky when that comes back in frame. And the reason it says tricky is because these words go diagonally as well as vertically and horizontally. So that makes it a little bit more challenging to find the words. And I was actually surprised at how much trickier it was when I had a little bit of a look through after I first printed it out, trying to spot a few of the words, and it took me a little bit to find anything. So I guess it's interesting the difference between a word search you literally draw up and write out yourself to one that you get from one of these random generators. I could legitimately make my own puzzles, and I wouldn't know the answers, as strange as that sounds, because the program randomly generates it. So that is it for today. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that little walkthrough of the kids' holiday journals, or Orions, and in the next video I will share Piper's with you. And until then, we'll see you next time. Thanks very much.